Yeah, good to be up here in Atlanta. We're at your campaign headquarters. I'm going to start with a couple of Columbus-centric questions right off the bat. One, a couple of weeks ago, you moved Judge Pinson from the appellate court to the state Supreme Court. And Columbus Superior Court Judge Ben Land was elevated to the state appellate court. Did you realize when you made that appointment that's the first time in more than a century that Columbus has had a judge on the statewide appellate bench?
No, I did not know that. I've known Ben Land a long time, back from our days at the University of Georgia, but he's been a great judge. He's a smart guy and really gave one of the best interviews of all the judicial candidates I've had over the years. So I think he's very well qualified. I think he'll bring a lot to the bench from his private sector experience, but also being a Superior Court judge. So we're excited about that, and we're excited about Ben Richardson and John Martin as well. A lot going on there.
It was interesting back in Columbus. Obviously, up here, the top of that press release was important, but in Columbus, the other three names on that list were as equally as important as the Supreme Court judge. And you were able to do a lot for the Muskogee County Chattahoochee Circuit in that appointment, and a lot of people down there have praised that. Gets us to our DA situation.
Yep.
In the state of Georgia right now, there is a backlog in criminal cases. In Columbus, it's exaggerated because the man that was the last elected district attorney in 2020 is now in state prison, prosecuted by the AG's office,
Yep.
and we have an interim DA and have had since October. What are you doing right now when it comes to the DA's job in the Chattahoochee Circuit?
Yeah, so we got the process going on. It's been open. We've taken applications. We're working on the interviewing process right now. So we'll move as quickly as we can. We know this is very important for the area and for the circuit. I've actually talked to some of the sheriffs down there about the situation, and a lot of other people, quite honestly, local legislative delegation, and we know this is top of mind. I will say we've also done a lot of things, working with Chief Justice Namias and the Supreme Court to figure out ways that we did some COVID relief money to help with the court backlogs. Literally, this is an issue that the whole state, really probably the whole country's dealing with, but we're focused on that. We'll move quickly as possible.
Columbus got about $2 million of that COVID relief money to help the backlog. But one of the things down there's a crime problem throughout the state, throughout the country. But in Columbus, we had 7 shootings, 2 homicides since Friday morning. People think we need a DA in that position now so that the staffs can be hired and the prosecutions can start. So you got a time frame on that?
No, hard to say on the time frame, but we'll move as quickly as we can. But listen, there's an acting DA in office. The prosecutors are still there. The courts, are open and working. And the voters of Columbus, Muskogee County need to hold people accountable and keep the pressure on to move the backlog. And I'm sure that they are. But we're very well aware of the crime issues, not only there. Obviously right here in our capital city, I've had a crime suppression unit that I asked Colonel Wright to put together. It's been operational for 9 months, going after violent crimes and street racing and other things here in the metro area. But we've also done operations in Macon, and we've done them in Columbus, trying to help the local law enforcement down there. We're also continuing our push to go after street gangs. The Atlanta media made fun of me when I was running for governor because I said there was a gang problem in Georgia, and I wanted to do something about it and create a gang task force at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Well, I've done that. They continue to do great work. We've got money proposed in the budget this year for more staff for them, for more medical examiners to speed up the prosecution process and also help with court backlogs. We've got money going to the Attorney General's office to allow them to help with prosecutions as well. So we know this is a need that we have not only in Atlanta but in places like Columbus, and we're doing something about it.
Georgia State Patrol has been in with our police department on warrant roundups and other crime suppression.
Yeah, just good old-fashioned police work.
I want to get to House Bill, I believe it's 1064. It passed the House today. Richard Smith is one of the co-sponsors of it, a state representative from Columbus, well. It would eliminate the state income tax for military retirees. Obviously, with Fort Benning, huge deal. If this gets through the Senate and gets to your desk, will you sign it?
Oh yeah, that's my bill. I mean, I campaigned on this. This is something we've been trying to get done. Obviously, 2 years of COVID interrupted a lot of the things that we've done, but this is something that I had promised people I would do when I was running for governor, and I fully intend to sign that bill this year. As you know, we rolled that bill out earlier this year down in the middle Georgia part of the state with a lot of our military folks, a lot of bipartisan legislators. Representative Calvin Smiley was there. We had people from Columbus that were at that event.
Ed Harbison's been a pusher
Yep,
for this for years.
Ed, I forgot about Ed. Ed, I served with Ed Harbison. He spoke that day as well, fully supportive. And so I feel like we'll get this done, and it's going to be great for our state. It's going to be great for our military that's active duty, and it's going to be great for retired military that wants to come to a place like Georgia. We got the lowest unemployment rate in the state, great opportunities for second careers here in our state. We're a military-friendly state, just like Columbus, Muskogee County is a military-friendly community, and we're proud of that in Georgia, and I think it's going to be awesome for us.
And Columbus is kind of ground zero for that bill because Alabama has that exception, and so it would give an equal playing field for trying to keep military retirees living on the Georgia side of the river instead of the Alabama side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being a border town, it is absolutely critical that we get this done, and it's great that we've got so much legislative support this year. And I think especially right now, this time in our country and around the world with what's happening in Ukraine, this is just something else we can do to support our men and women in uniform.
I want to talk politics now. There's an election later.
I can't believe it took you so long to get to this.
Hey, I get ready. I'm going to ask you the Columbus questions first. They're
No,
the people
I
that
get
send
it.
me up here.
That's right.
But on the political side of this, I interviewed Senator Perdue about 2 weeks ago. He said that you and your family probably felt that his challenge of you was a betrayal of y'all's friendship and your relationship. Do you feel that way?
I'm not too worried about what he's thinking. I mean, I'm focused on doing my job as governor and get reelected. I mean, my sights are making sure Stacey Abrams does not become our governor or our president. And that's what I'm focused on every day. The other thing I'm focused on is simply doing what I promised people I would do. When I got in the race for governor, I was tired of people that would say one thing and then do something completely different when they got in office. So it has been my mission to do what I told people I would do, whether it's creating the gang task force, whether it's doing the military retirement, constitutional carry, giving teachers the largest pay raise in state history. We've done part of that already. We got the last $2,000 installment this year, and making sure that we're the #1 state in the country for small business. And you just look at where we are economically right now. That's what my focus is on. I know I got to win the primary, and that's what my focus is on, but my mission is to make sure that we stop Stacey Abrams.
As you work through this primary, obviously it has divided Republicans in a very real way. No place is it more obvious than in your campaign disclosure in Columbus, Georgia. Columbus is a place where, though Muskogee's a Democratic county on the voting, because of the businesses there, the Aflacs, the Synovises, W.C. Bradley. Columbus is a key place for campaign financial contributions. I was going through yours last night. Mm-hmm. There were people up and down the list: Dan Amos, Aflac, Kevin Blair, Synovus, Blanchard, Yancey. There were people up and down the list that were making major contributions to your campaign who have traditionally supported you and Senator Perdue in your races. What does that tell you about what's happening with the Columbus business community?
Well, listen, I don't think people are divided as the media makes them out to be a lot of times. And we have great support in Columbus from all those folks and more that you mentioned. But we also got great support from the grassroots folks that are out there helping put signs up and giving small dollar contributions. And we're proud of all that. That's one reason we raised, I think I had $12 million cash on hand, and Senator Perdue's fundraising was lackluster. It's because people appreciate the record that I have established here in Georgia, and that's what I've been running on. And they appreciate the fact that I have been putting them first, ahead of the politically correct and the status quo, and simply doing what I've been saying. And that's what they're supporting. They're wanting more of that, and I don't think the party's near as divided as people are. I mean, Republicans have always had primary fights. You're starting to see the Democrats now doing that on some of the down ballot offices that are out there, and that's okay, because we're going to be united. I mean, Stacey Abrams is the great unifier for Republicans, and so I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to continue to run on my record, and I'm going to fight hard, though, because this is a challenge to what I have been doing and where our state's going, and we cannot let anybody destroy that, including my opponents.
You talked about the fundraising a minute ago. You have significant fundraising advantage over Senator Perdue. Does the man with the most money win this race?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm not planning on just having money and win the race. I mean, I was the first person to organize grassroots leaders in all 159 counties. Last Friday, a week ago, I did 6 different events in one Friday. We're on the road constantly, telling folks what my record is, proving to them that I'm going to continue that. I mean, we got to give people, we've seen in the past, just being against something or somebody doesn't win races. You got to be for something. We got to give Georgians a reason to vote for us here in this state, whether it's Columbus or Athens, where I live, or, rural parts of our state, North Georgia, South Georgia. We got to tell people, what our record is, what we stand for, and what we want to do. And that's what this race is all about. The other side, they want to take us in 180-degree different direction. And I'll just give you a few examples. They are the ones that criticized me when we started measurably reopening small parts of our economy.
The Democrats.
Yeah, the Democrats, Stacey Abrams, even Senator Perdue said the other day that I reopened early, which is outrageous. You go tell some hardworking Georgian that was about to lose the roof over their head or get their car repossessed or couldn't buy groceries or medicine for their kids. That's not what they thought. We were simply giving people an opportunity to live to fight another day. Did the same thing when we tried to get, started pushing to get our kids back in the classroom and support our educators to do that. The other side was critical. They didn't want kids in the classroom. The data in the Trump administration is the same. Kids can be in the classroom. It's not easy. You got to work hard at it. But our state has benefited because most of our school systems have had kids in the classroom. We never closed our churches in Georgia. It's never been more important who your governor is. You saw governors around.
Columbus, they did shut down.
Yeah, but it was their choice. It wasn't the government ordering them to do that. Other governors around the country literally prevented people from going to church. We didn't do that here. If the church decided that was in their best interest, they could make that choice. It wasn't a mandate from the government. And many other instances of that. The other side wants to defund the police. We have a crime suppression unit that's been doing work in Columbus. We passed a bill that'll prevent rogue local governments from defunding the police. We're going to stand with our men and women in law enforcement to keep our communities safe.
You mentioned the name a minute ago, former President Trump. He obviously endorsed you in the.
I think you mentioned his name.
No, you said it. You said it. I got you now. We'll go back and check the tape.
That's all right.
No, but you were talking about. Here's what I want to ask about President Trump, former President Trump.
Yep.
He obviously supported you, but since the 2020 election, you have been public enemy number 1 or 1A, depending on where Secretary Raffensperger falls on that list. He has badmouthed you, he's cussed you, he has targeted you for defeat. He has said he's going to work to defeat you. If you could say one thing to him right now, what would you say to the former president about this race and about where you are? If you could say one thing to the former president, what would you say?
Look, Chuck, I've told people this for a long time, and I'm going to keep telling them. I can't control what other people are doing. What I can control every day is what Brian Kemp's doing, what Brian Kemp, as Georgia's 83rd governor, is doing, and that is focused on my record and working hard for every single Georgian in the state, whether they voted for me or not. That's what I promised people I would do. But I've also told people, when Marty was holding that Bible, when I got sworn in and I lifted my right hand and put this hand on the Bible, I swore to protect the laws and the Constitution of this state and the Constitution of the United States. You know, when I was Secretary of State, I was in charge of elections, but I'm not Secretary of State anymore. I'm the governor. And I followed the law and the Constitution in this state and the Constitution of the United States. And as long as I'm governor, I'm going to continue to do that. And I think that's what people want. You know, they want you to do the right thing when no one's watching. They want you to do the right thing, even when it's hard to do it. I mean, it would have been the easiest thing in the world for me to fold up and do something different. But that wasn't the right thing to do. And I didn't do that when Major League Baseball was targeting me or large Georgia companies were targeting me after we passed the Elections Integrity Act, fixing the mechanical issues that we saw in the elections in 2020. I was as frustrated as anyone else. But you know what? What we did is going to help us have more secure elections, and they're also still going to be very accessible. It's going to be easy to vote and hard to cheat here. And that's why I have stood up and I have not bent to any of those things. I've just tried to do what's right and what I thought Georgians wanted me to do, not what some other person that doesn't live in the state or, you know, some national news organization that's putting pressure on me or some large corporation or former CEO from a, you know, guy that lives in New York or California. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about hardworking Georgians and what their needs are and fighting for them.
At your core, you're a home builder. You build houses early in your career. I know a lot of home builders in Columbus and around the state, and builders are the salt of the earth in a lot of ways, but they also don't like people attacking them or their families. They get very proactive about that, the ones I know. And that, I mean, has it been hard not to go after the people, whether it be former President Trump or others, that have attacked you, attacked Marty, and attacked the kids?
Well, you know, it comes with the territory. We got a saying in the Kemp family, no crying in politics. You know, we're just fight back every single day. You know, and I think this is a good reason for people to know where I am and why I'm going to get reelected. I remember coming to Columbus during the Great Recession, you know, mid to late 2000s for a fundraiser. And I had builders that literally came by there and said, look, we are so broke, we cannot even give you a contribution. We just came to get signs because we like you, we support you. And those people are doing well today because of the things that I have done, because of the things that the state policymakers like the local delegation in Columbus and a lot of other people have really built this environment, the business community, the economic developers. You know, our whole team in this state, people are experiencing great economic prosperity, and that's what makes me proud to think about those guys that were literally, I was there with them. I was there in the mid-2000s about to lose everything I got.
2008 was not pretty.
I know what it feels like. You know, I know what it feels like on Friday night, and that's why I did what I did when I reopened. And sure, it made a lot of people mad, and people call me, you know, bad names, but I wasn't worried about them. I was worried about those people that they were not going to sit at home and lose everything they got or not be able to provide for their children. And we just gave them a chance to live to fight another day. We didn't order anybody to go back to church or go out to eat or open your restaurant or, you know, open your religious establishment or your business. We just simply gave them an opportunity to do that. And we worked with a lot of people in Columbus on how we did that and how the private sector and the government could partner to have, you know, ways to do this that would protect people but weren't so burdensome that it was impossible to do. And that's like, we saw that in states like California where the movie industry couldn't even open because the rules were too bad. What we did here was we gave the movie industry and other businesses flexibility to make this work, and we're thriving because of it.
What skill, other than maybe hitting a nail with a hammer, did you learn as a builder that served you well coming through COVID?
Well, I think probably two things. Number one is just, you know, when you're building, you're a grinder. You know, you don't just do something.
Gambling.
You don't do, well, you're a gambler too, but you don't just do something in one day. I mean, a project, it takes a long time. You just have to work hard every day to get it finished on time, and it's just a grind. And that's really how I've been in the governor's office, especially during COVID, is just good days, bad days, highs, lows, you know, whatever. I hadn't tried to get too high, too low. I've just kept grinding. I've kept grinding. That's what I'm gonna do as your governor. But also just that feeling of being home on Friday night, barely paid to people working for me that needed that check as much or more than I did. not being able to pay all the suppliers, sitting there with Marty wondering, you know, are we going to be able to get through this? And you got two choices, and you can throw the keys back to the bank and give up, or you can get up on Saturday morning and go back and grind again and hope you sell something or hope you make another dollar to keep the wolves off from chasing you for another day. And I did that, not just one Friday night. I did it month after month after month. And I've done that more than once, and Marty has too. She's been a small business person right with me. So we know how that feels, and that's a bad feeling. And I didn't want Georgians to have that feeling, and that's something else I learned during COVID. We got to do two things: protect lives, but also livelihoods.
Feel like the wolves are chasing you in this primary a little bit?
No, I'm chasing the wolves.
Expand on that.
Well, you just look at the record. You know, if you don't have anything to fight with, you're going to run. I got plenty to fight with. You know, I'm going to keep fighting anybody that's out there that, you know, wants to change the way our state operates or not telling the truth, and that's what I'm going to do. That's what my family's doing. That's what our great Georgia team's doing. We're going to keep doing that. We got a state that's worth fighting for.
I think we're getting toward the end of this. Are we, Cody? Cody's not here today. Hey, one thing I want to ask is, you talked about baseball a minute ago. We're right across the street from Truist Park. Lockout is messing things up. Kind of where are you watching that, because that could have an economic impact on this part of Georgia for sure? And should the Braves go ahead and bite the bullet and sign Freeman?
Oh, yeah, well, we'll see how that plays out. I mean, I'm hopeful they'll get a deal done. You know, it's unfortunate, but we've seen this before. This is just a deal that they got to get figured out. But the thing is, if the season's not going on, the high profile players are not getting paid. You know, the up and coming players are not going to get paid, which hurts them. But also, you got a lot of hard-working Georgians that, you know, won't be able to work at the games, and you know, that's unfortunate. Good thing is we got great opportunity here in this area if that happens. But I feel confident they're going to get something done. And look, Freddie's been incredible. We'll see if they can sign him. I think it's going to depend on, you know, how long a deal he wants and, you know, where they are. But he's done great things for the Braves.
As you look at this, and now last question I'll ask you, as you look kind of this primary, you look at the political season that we're in, what's the state of Georgia right now?
Well, to me, the state of Georgia is resilient. I mean, our people have been so resilient to get to this point after the last 2 years of hell that we have been through. And it has been hard. Y'all know it in Columbus. I've been there many times talking to the hospital, working with the mayor, local government, dealing with nursing homes and other things. I mean, it's been very hard. But our state's resilient. And because we've been resilient, protecting lives and livelihoods, we're also thriving. We haven't seen an economy like this, and I don't know when. It is incredible. We're going to keep our foot on the gas and keep working as hard as we can every day to give all people, no matter what neighborhood, no matter what zip code that they're in, great economic opportunity. You know, we want people that are being raised in Columbus, you know, we want them to be able to stay there and have a good paying job and raise their kids there and have their kids stay there. That's what we're building in our state, and we got to keep it going.
Last question, are you monitoring the Russia-Ukraine situation?
Oh, definitely. I mean, listen, we have Georgia troops that are over there, more that are headed out. We're asking all.
Poland area?
Yeah, asking all Georgians to pray for them and their families, and also the Ukrainians. I mean, you're talking about resilient people. They are resilient, but we're definitely monitoring that. Also looking at state actions that we can take, from divesting from certain Russian funds and other things that are going on to do our part.
Well, Governor,
Thank you,
sir. Always good to
be
see you.
on with you.